What is up, guys? It is Tony here, and today I'm bringing you some more montage editing tutorials, except today we are talking about real-life footage. And by real-life footage, I mean really any footage you take that needs grading. Usually whenever you're filming with a film camera or DSLR, you find that a lot of the times that you get a lot of flatness. You get a lot of grayscale images. Now, this time we are using some footage from the GoPro. I believe this is the Hero 3 that is being shot, and you can see there are some pretty decent colors here, but of course there is a major problem that a lot of video cameras, digital cameras, have problems with nowadays, which is a lot of flatness. You'll notice that the range of the camera is very poor. You'll see these shadows here, which would be a lot darker, or a little bit of a gray tinge to them, which means they retain a lot of detail, which is good, which is meant to happen so you can, grade however you want it to be graded. But in my own personal opinion, this should be a lot darker. And then up here, you'll notice the whites are a little bit drawn back. They're not as white and blown out as they should be. This is, of course, like I said, done so you can do what we're about to do, which is basically color correction and grading. I've done color correction tutorials in the past, but they're mostly based around Call of Duty and other video game edits where things are more unnatural looking. But in this case, you need to do something that looks a little bit natural, a little bit normal, and we're going to find a frame here where we can really see what we need to grade, how we need to grade this footage. I think a good place to be is a place where you have all of the range of colors in the video present, and also if the sun's present in the video at any point, find a place where the sun is in the clip, because you want to make sure the sun is exposed properly. I think this is actually really good right here. Let's find one where the sun, there we go, that should be perfect. So the first thing I would recommend doing is trying to make your video screen as big as possible. I think this is the biggest it's going to get, which is kind of disappointing, but it'll work fine. Just make sure you have a decent monitor. And what you're going to do first off is, you might have noticed, is when you click on the clip and you go into the video tab under the inspector tool, which is this eye, you go into correction under color. And correction 1, you're basically going to be able to change everything you want to. So for example, you can change the exposure. This right here will change the exposure of the entire clip. So if you're really overexposed, say it looks like this, you can bring it down a bit and make it a little bit more normal or feasible or workable, whatever your word is. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at these 3 sliders, which is the shadows, the highlights, and the midtones. Just like when we were editing in Lightroom, if you've seen that tutorial. And here you're basically just going to bring down your shadows a little bit, make them a little bit darker. This is my own preference, and you can bring up the highlights. And what this does is it adds contrast to your video. So now you're going to notice that the shadows look a lot more darker and the highlights look a lot brighter, which brings a lot of contrast in the video. For a video like this, I want contrast. You can also modify your midtones if you're into that. Sometimes I'll bring my midtones down a bit just to add even more contrast to the video. The next thing you're going to want to look into is saturation. Now, saturation is where a lot of people get a little out of hand and they do this. You don't want to do that because it just looks unrealistic. Now, sometimes I'll actually desaturate my videos because I don't want them to look too red or blue or whatever color. But of course, we can change that into color. Mostly I like to oversaturate it just a little bit, just so we have a lot more room in terms of what we can do with the coloration. And then under color, of course, now we're able to do the global color, the shadows color, etc. For the shadows color, you can do whatever you want, but I kind of like to go for a bit of like a bluer or a purple color in the shadows sometimes, which adds this vintage look to it. But right now I think I'm just going to go with no color. For the highlights, sometimes I like to go with like a blue look to kind of give it like a cooler look, especially on a video like this where you have really harsh reds if you don't like that. But in this video, I think we want to keep that red look because it kind of adds to the film, in my opinion, or to the video, in my opinion, because it's like some extreme hiking and whatchamacallit. What's it called? I can't think of the word. What's the word? I can't think of the word of what it's called. Zip lining. There it is. So it's like hardcore and you want it to be red. So I kind of went with a red theme for this one. But of course, you can change around the colors in here as well. So that's pretty much color correcting and grading in a whole. Basically, this is important stuff for anyone who's doing any sort of real, actual digital filming, if you're actually going out there and you're doing video on a camera and you're not just editing Call of Duty, grading is an important thing and color correction is important. I know a lot of people throw the word color correction around, but color correction isn't about adding lens flares and making things look really shiny. It's about getting the colors right on your video camera, because a lot of these video cameras are flat or they have too much color, etc. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did help you, go ahead and like it. And if you have suggestions or questions, comment them below, and I'll see you guys next time.